Hello and welcome to episode 205 of Ask M&R Productions, a series where I answer your questions. So if you have a question I want to answer on next week's episode, leave in the comments section below, and let's get into the final episode of 2021 with our first question from Tommy Dempsey. He says, what is the best Star Wars gift with purchase? I think it's pretty obviously one of two things. I mean, obviously with everything, opinions are going to vary, but if there was a graph of like percentages of what people picked as what they thought was the best Star Wars gift with purchase ever, I think at the very top would probably be Darth Revan. That's not my personal top, but I think Darth Revan would probably be at the top. And then to follow that would be the Shadow ARF Trooper as the second best LEGO Star Wars gift with purchase ever. That would be my personal favorite there. The rest of them would kind of scatter about with lower percentages of people picking them as their favorite or the best. And yeah, I don't think a lot of the recent ones compare to what we used to get. That happens. The other problem is that LEGO just completely refuses to put minifigs in Star Wars promos now, but all of these builds for Harry Potter and Avengers and Ninja, all of these things get figures with the build of the promo. Then when we get Star Wars promos, we just get a build. It's really lame. Elliot Dyson says, what do you think of the Bricklink designer program? I think it's a really neat program that allows people to design things and get them made that wouldn't be made otherwise. I don't really think too much about it. Is the other thing there. Like, it exists to me. I haven't bought any of the sets. I don't really understand how it works because I haven't given it any time to understand how it works because I just don't care about it in that way. I don't know how else to talk about it, but there is one thing I really want from it, and that is the big fisherman ship. I don't know why I didn't buy it. I had the opportunity to buy it. It looks really cool in the blue color. I'm a really big fan of just like brick-built bigger boats in general, like anything like the Maersk I've purchased and the Titanic, like those types of LEGO boats always tickle my fancy, and this was another one that I just passed on for some reason, so at some point I might pick it up. SSLT22 says, what do you think of UCS Anakin's Jedi Interceptor for Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary in 2025? So I've been sitting on this idea for a while for a UCS prequel set ideas video, and I haven't made it yet, but I saw this question and I wanted to put this idea out there for this particular set that I've been mulling over for a while because I think it makes a lot of sense and it would be so damn cool. So instead of like just Anakin's Jedi Interceptor, because like they've done that before, not Anakin's, but they did the Obi-Wan's Starfighter in 2010, and it was just the Obi-Wan set. It was $100, and I feel like if they did an Interceptor, they could do it again and build it at $100 size-ish, right? And then why not just have two at that point? Because LEGO refuses to do UCS sets under $200. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week. But basically, my thinking is anyway, it'd be a cooler set, so why even split them up, or why only do one or the other when people are clearly going to want the other if one exists? So why not just do both in one set and have Anakin and Obi-Wan's Jedi Interceptor in the same set for $200? Max $250, both Anakin and Obi-Wan with their Mustafar outfits, because as we remember, they did have burnt robes when they were flying above Coruscant. That's what happened. I saw it in the LEGO set. It must be true. I think that would be the most fitting May the 4th set for that year. I don't even think a UCS Venator would be as cool for that particular point in time to be the UCS set for May 4th at $200. So yeah, fingers crossed that's what happens, because that's what I think is absolutely what should happen in 2025. Rodrigo Blankenship says, go Colts! What was the coolest item you saw while shopping at Block Party or Toy Drop? And second question, what do you think the chances LEGO makes a No Way Home Spider-Man set that includes all three Spideys? Feel like they'd be silly not to. They'd be silly not to do a lot of things from that movie. By the way, for people that want to know, I did watch the movie. It was fantastic, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. I hadn't even seen the more recent Spider-Mans, and I still really enjoyed it. I did watch like a few video clips before I went in, so like I had some like level of knowledge, and I know who like Daredevil was because I watched like a clip of him, which was really funny.
How long have you been practicing law?
What time is it? It's 12:22 a.m. About 7 hours.
But anyway, if you don't know, I uploaded a vlog yesterday on M&R Vlogs with that guy right there, Rod, and we went to a couple really, really dope like secondary toy stores called Block Party and Toy Drop up in Indianapolis, and there were a lot of cool items. It is very hard to pick one. Kind of an odd choice, but I feel like the coolest thing we saw in the store was this super old cup display from a movie theater in 1999 when Star Wars Episode 1 came out. It had like Watto, Darth Maul, and Sebulba, and I'm not sure who else they had on the cup thing, and I can't see it in my video here, but they had this really cool cup display that was hanging from the ceiling. I don't think it was something that was for sale, but it looked really, really dope. There were so many other cool items in the store, though, like, and as well the Block Party store that was selling Lego stuff. It's incredible, some of these places that you can find in America, and I'm sure other countries, that just have tons of like vintage Star Wars toys and toys of other stuff. Where I'd spend a lot of time looking at Transformers and Funko Pops, but yeah, like there's like so much stuff there. But for people that haven't, definitely check out the vlog. I'll link it down below and on the end screen of this video. And as far as Lego making a set with all 3 Spider-Mans from No Way Home, the only question I would have is like, how would they do it? Like, what build would it be? Maybe like a final battle build where you kind of incorporate all 3 Spider-Mans as well as somewhat of the Statue of Liberty, or like is it Captain America's shield that like ends up falling into the water. They have made Spider-Man figure packs in the past, and I almost feel like it would be ideal if they made a $15 minifig pack with all 3 Spider-Mans, but then they probably wouldn't make enough money, so they would probably make it a more expensive set. But if I'm in charge, I'm making a $15 figure pack with Tom Holland Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and calling it good. Noah says, what do you think of the potential subscription service that allows you to buy retired Lego sets? So, I haven't done any research about the supposed Lego subscription service that allows you to buy retired Lego sets. Other than that, I saw that it exists, and I read a very small part about it where it was like, oh, you have access to our back, you could have access to our back catalog as a potential feature of our subscription service. That's what Lego's saying, right? And so I'm going to do a whole video on this because I feel like it deserves its own video. But I wanted to specifically talk about this guy's question because I saw a lot of people talking about it the other day, maybe on Reddit or something, and, you know, Reddit is Reddit. And so I saw some really, really, like, bad opinions, to say the least. And, like, there are people out there that are like, oh my god, this is great. I'm going to be able to buy, like, the retired UCS Millennium Falcon from 2007 or the Super Star Destroyer. And I'm like, no, that's not what this is going to be. Lego has proven time and time again it will not live up to your expectations, so that should be enough to begin with. But the idea of having access to the back catalog is not like access to everything they've ever created. It's not like they have a warehouse sitting around with 2009 Clone Walker battle packs that you and I are going to be able to buy for $10, because that's just not what it's going to be. You're not going to be able to buy UCS Slave 1. This one's probably a little bit too old to end up getting in the back catalog of products. It was also too popular. It sold out, right? You're going to be able to buy stuff that's retired recently from video that they didn't sell everything of, or Lego Dimensions that they didn't sell. It's going to be generally speaking, obviously there will be exceptions to the rule, but it will probably be very unpopular products, or products that were very unpopular for the most part during the lifetime of their sale. And I have absolutely no inside knowledge, but I can almost guarantee that almost all of them will be, you know, from within the last 5 years. There's no way they just have pallets of stuff. I say no way. Lego's a pretty big company. They probably have a lot of warehouses. Who knows, I guess. But they probably don't have just warehouses of old 2005 sets sitting around. They just don't. So I have no idea what it's going to cost. I don't know anything else about it other than that some people need to stop expecting 2002 Lego Star Wars sets to be available on this subscription service, because it's a ridiculous notion. It's not going to happen. You might be able to buy Lego Elves sets, and that's it. Like, I don't, like, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. RN Phoenix says, how much do you think it actually costs Lego to make each set? Do you think they have the same profit margins for a $20 Star Wars set, each $80 Star Wars set, etc.? No, I mean, every product that they make is going to have a different cost of production, so therefore they couldn't possibly have the same exact profit margin, although it would be similar. That's why the sets are priced as they are. So, like, if this is a $15 set, you know, and I guess I don't have let me get a better example. Oh, perfect. Okay, we have 2 plushes right here. That's what I got for Christmas from my mom. Love it. So both these things cost, I don't know, $15. One of them probably cost Lego $2 to make, and one of them probably costs Lego $2.50 to make. You know, just a little bit more material, maybe a more complex design on the Spaceman, but they still want to keep them the same price. It's the same thing with like a $20 Lego Star Wars set, like the $20 dual sets, like the duel on Mandalore and the duel on Mustafar, right? They're different sets. One of them has more pieces, one of them maybe has more intricate molds, you know, what it costs more by slight amounts, you know what I mean? And so like the profit margin down to like the penny is not going to be the same, which I think is what you're asking with the end of the question. But as far as like how much do I think it costs Lego to make each set, it's again going to vary depending on how much the set costs, but as a generality, most things probably cost them way less than even I think it costs them to make, and I know things about what it probably costs them to make. And like it probably costs them $0.25 to make a minifigure. Now, I'm not one of those internet commenters that is like ridiculous enough to be like, oh my god, it only costs Lego $0.25 to make a minifigure. Why are they charging $15? Like, I do understand that there are more costs in the actual like material costs and the cost of like actually putting it together as it is in the moment, because you have to have the overhead to create your warehouse, have the machinery, you have to pay for the licensing, you pay for employees, you pay for advertising, you pay for your stores, you got to keep the lights on, pay rent there. Like, there are so many costs of doing business for Lego that is more than just putting plastic into an injection mold and printing some ink on it, you know what I mean? Just to make my math easier, I had to get something that has a even round number at $20. So the retail price for this is $20. A store that's going to buy it from Lego will get it from Lego for like $14. Lego, of course, is going to want to make a good chunk of money off of that $14 as well. Plus, they have to pay the licensing fee, which I think for Star Wars is probably about 20%. So you take another $4 out of that $14, you're down to $10 of money that's going to go to Lego out of the $20 for the battle pack. And then you think Lego probably wants to make at least 50% maybe on their margin for something like this. So at most, maybe their cost of producing a battle pack is $5, but even I think that's high. So yeah, that's what I would guess. I would probably say the cost of actually producing any given Lego set that you see is about 25% or less of what the actual retail price is. Master Brick says, how about you and I play a 1v1 basketball game? If I win, I get one of your many Thrawn minifigures, and if you win, we can figure out what you would want. Maybe some Final vs. Battle Packs regardless. What do you think? The fans would love it. I would love to play basketball against anyone. I'm down. So I don't know where you live, but if you live in Florida, send me an email or a DM on Instagram and we can try to work something out where I'm either in Orlando or here where I live. I don't really care, but yeah, I'd love to play. We could put it in a vlog or something, I'm sure. So yeah, hit me up somewhere. I'm down. Plus, I'll do anything to scratch my gambling itch. Harry says, Lego made a video that completely answers how to fully take apart the UCS AT-AT without a knife and without damaging the pieces. I like how they'll indirectly solve that community problem, but not address some other things. Oh, they will not address anything that's actually a problem with the community for Lego Star Wars fans. They quite frankly just do not care, and they have made that very clear to me over the last year and a half, 2 years. So yeah, very cool Lego. Love you guys. You're the best.
Okay. I'm not quite...
And but I had not heard of this video, so I pulled it up on YouTube here on the LEGO YouTube channel, and I forgot how atrocious the LEGO YouTube channel is. I have not been subscribed to it because it is just absolutely spammed with crap from like every language you can imagine. Although a lot of this looks like Chinese and Spanish, but I don't know why they don't have Lego en Espanol, Lego China. Like, why don't you have different channels? Like, but then again, Lego doesn't understand YouTube and the people that... Anyway, let's see what this building tips and tricks AT-AT video is all about, because apparently...
Hello, my name is
Are you gonna tell us this is a prequel set? So we're about to get told. I love how we have the UCS AT-AT designer video, of course, but we have another UCS AT-AT video, but we still, you know, they just delete the gunship designer video and never talk about it, never fix it, never upload anything, never apologize, nothing. Lego, oh my god, I just hate it. I hate it. But I mean, the AT-AT is great. I mean, it is. It just sucks that the company's garbage. Anyway,
Star Wars,
let's continue on.
And I'm here today to show you some tips and tricks on the UCS AT-AT. Tip number 1 for removing the LEGO Technic rods. After you remove the armor paneling, you use the brick separator to remove the hip panel. Tap gently next to the LEGO Technic rod and remove it with the brick separator.
Okay, that was actually kind of cool.
Tip 2.
That was kind of a neat trick. That tap, that it just kind of pops out.
Tip 2. An alternate way to remove the LEGO Technic rods. Take off the hip panel remove the front section, use the brick separator to remove the underside. Push the LEGO Technic rod from the inside and use the brick separator from the outside to pull it out.
No, the tap was just way cooler. Why would anyone do anything that's not the tap?
Tip 3. Remove the LEGO Technic rods in the legs. Remove these 2 panels and the shoulder lock. Detach and disassemble the leg. Push the orange LEGO Technic piece. Hold the LEGO Technic rod with your fingernail. Retract the cross-axle extender. Repeat this until your fingernail can pull out the LEGO Technic rod. And now, bonus building fact. These new LEGO Technic pieces were not only designed to support the weight of the whole model, but also to replicate the design of the AT-AT ankle. Time to rebuild. I hope you enjoyed this and found it useful. Thanks for watching.
Well, there you go. All of the fuss about the AT-AT not being able to be taken apart was all a bunch of garbage, and it was stupid to begin with because it's a display model that costs $800. Maybe 0.5% of the people that ever buy it will want to take those particular pieces out. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. So I'm glad it can come apart, I guess, for those people. But that's that. I feel like that sort of stuff would have been a lot more useful in the instruction manual because people are going to have to seek out that video. But nonetheless, it's cool that it exists. Georgie says, hey Ryan, I like your reviews and comparisons a lot. Thanks, buddy. He says, in your opinion, what is the likelihood of LEGO releasing a Playscale Millennium Falcon based on Return of the Jedi in 2023 40-year anniversary? Thanks. So LEGO is still keeping available the Episode 9 version of the playset Falcon right now. So it came out in the end of 2019, and it's going into, 2022 now, so it's 3rd year of availability. And not to say that they couldn't retire it at the end of 2022 and come out with another one 6 months later, but, you know, not the most likely thing ever. And just because a Return of the Jedi Falcon doesn't come out in 2023 doesn't mean they can't make a Return of the Jedi Falcon. I should add that. Like, it could come out in 2024. And I actually really like this idea, though, because they have never done a Return of the Jedi-centric Millennium Falcon, because they did, like, the original one, I don't remember if it was 4 or 5, but it was definitely not 6. And then we had the 2004 version, which was Empire, and then the 2010 version, which was from Episode 4, and then we had the Force Awakens, and then, of course, Episode 9 versions of the Falcon now. But they've never done an Episode 6 version, and the specific reason I think they should do an Episode 6 version is so that we can get we can get a Nien Nunb figure in any other sort of set. Like, they could just make it, right? They could just make a figure pack and put a Nien Nunb figure in there. But we've never had him, so I think that would be a set that would make a lot of sense to include him in. And so, 2023 I feel like is unlikely, but I obviously wouldn't mind it. But I think at some point when they do another Falcon remake and they change out the figures and make it back to an original trilogy version of a Falcon, I think I guess there was the Han Solo Falcon. I didn't even mention that. But that's not really relevant to our conversation. I just thought about it. But yeah, I think a Nien Nunb figure and then Lando Calrissian and stuff could be in that set. I don't even know who else these other characters are in the background. I don't remember. I'm just looking at these pictures. I guess Chewbacca would also be in the set. So you could get a nice slate of characters that are a bit different than what we normally get with the Falcon. Star Wars Brick says, after all the LEGO sets you've built over the years, where do you put your extra pieces? I don't know where all the extra pieces from like way early on went. Doesn't really matter to me. But as of now, when I get sets and build them, I take the extra pieces and I put them in a cup like this. And then when I fill it up, which this one is practically filled at this point, I give it to my buddy Sans because I wasn't doing anything with them and he wanted them. So I was like, oh, you can just have my extra piece. This is probably, I don't know. I'm trying, this is like fossil dating. I just realized what I'm doing. I'm like, on the top here, we've got some extra pieces from more recent sets that just came out 2021 or 2022, like Star Wars stuff. And then as I look down to the bottom, I'm like, oh yeah, that's from a superhero set in the summer. Then we got some fire pieces, maybe from like Harry Potter stuff earlier this year. We got a big sword, maybe from the medieval blacksmith or something. Maybe you guys can recognize exactly where some of there's a wood piece that's almost, certainly from the medieval blacksmith. I don't know what else I would have had that would have had a wood piece, but I would think this is probably, No, this can't be... Well, I've probably shuffled this around quite a bit, actually, now that I think about it. This is probably about 6 months worth of extra pieces, though, because I think I gave him my extra pieces not too long ago. But, yeah, okay. That's what I do with them, though. I just put them in a cup, and then I give them to my friend, because, like, I just don't need these. Although, when I am missing pieces, I will dig through here, or, like, little pieces, I suppose, dig through here and see if I can find one, because usually there is. But other than that, I don't actually have a use for them, so I just give them to him. Ben Maslin dares to question the authority. He says, love the channel. In your recent worst of first video, you ranked the Imperial Shuttle, Exhibit A, as the best UCS set ever. But is it a UCS set, he says? Ben! How dare you? But let's hear him out. Let's hear him out. How are you defining that? Nowhere on the box does it say it's UCS, nor is there a UCS logo, and the fact it comes with a plaque doesn't make it UCS, otherwise the Porg would be too. Controversial, I know, very. But I don't think that its size alone can classify it as a UCS set. If it were, then Assault on Hoth would be too, and Assault on Hoth actually had a UCS logo. Okay, well, I see your point. I mean, you question something that didn't really need to be questioned, I suppose. But I'll just state it as a fact. I mean, the Imperial Shuttle is a UCS set.
Look at this. This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Everyone but you in the entire history of ever has agreed with that. But I had to pick your question because I think it's hilarious that you've even thought to, like, think that maybe it's not. So let's go through why it is. And why these other things aren't. We'll start with the Porg, because I've finally realized what they've done. I guess I've realized it a lot longer, but like basically they did it with the 2021 R2-D2 as well, because that's technically not UCS now. And so what you'll notice they've done with the plaques of the newer stuff, and the other problem is, Ben, that LEGO Star Wars really lacks the big picture with a lot of things. Sometimes they're good at it. A lot of times they aren't. And like from 1999, they didn't know what they wanted out of the UCS lineup. So like it's a little inconsistent. The Porg, for example, though, back to my original train of thought, has a different plaque. I know that sounds weird. That's just the way it is. The plaque on the Porgs and the BB-8 and the newer UCS, but not UCS R2-D2, because they're all built in the Dio and the Probe Droid. These are all just buildable characters. None of them are UCS sets. That's their category. It's buildable characters. And so there's no other real explanation to that. Like, that's just the way I categorize them. I think that's the way LEGO categorizes them, and that's just the way it is. It was a different time when plaques were not just handed out to a lot of things. It was plaques only came on UCS sets at that time. So then we have Assault on Hoth, and along with Assault on Hoth comes with the two playset Death Stars, the Ewok Village, the Cloud City, the Mos Eisley, and LEGO, when Cloud City came out and said that Cloud City's Master Builders series, and that Master Builder series is defined as a large playset with lots of minifigs. Those 6 playsets specifically are Master Builder series because they are specifically big playsets. While they can look good on display, and certainly Mos Eisley does specifically, they aren't made for display primarily, right? Like they definitely have a different direction to some degree. That doesn't mean they can't look good on display, but that's not their primary focus, like something like the gunship or the Slave One here. That there's obviously a different philosophy behind the build. Now, other than that, it being intuitively obvious to the casual observer that the Imperial Shuttle is a UCS set, the LEGO.com description of the set calls it a UCS set, although that's not saying much because the LEGO.com descriptions of things can be wrong pretty blatantly, and they don't bother to fix it. It was a direct-to-consumer set, which means it's like a more expensive set that's not part of the main line, and it's only available exclusively from LEGO, which has kind of changed in recent years. So now if like a set comes out and it's, a UCS Slave 1 came out tomorrow, it would be exclusive to LEGO for 3 months and then be available from other retailers. But that's sort of the idea. Plus, it has the separate set number, which they don't really do anymore, but the numbers back in the day would be like 101 XX. I guess 10179 for the UCS Falcon from 2007, or 102 eventually, because they ran out of 101s. They got to 10212 for the Imperial Shuttle there. So you kind of get the idea that the set numbers were also something to look at that set them apart. But I mean, for the most part, they didn't do the box art thing until I think this might have been the first set that actually had the seal on it. No, it might have been the Sandcrawler from 2014, the year before. But yeah, they had these seals for a little bit, then they got rid of them, then they did the black thing where they had it say, pretty UCS up in the top right or whatever. But they're always inconsistent with their packaging like that too, so it's hard to point at that and be like, oh yeah, it didn't have this 12 years ago when they didn't know what they were doing. All of this at the end of the day is completely arbitrary and doesn't matter. Everything's just a LEGO set that LEGO sells, if that's the way you want to look at it too. And if you don't want to categorize it any lower than the very, very surface level, it's a LEGO set, then you are more than welcome to. I just happen to care a little bit more than that, and clearly you do too, to ask this. Anyway, the UCS Imperial Shuttle is a UCS set because it is. Hudson says, what is a set that you think gets way too much hate, one that's arguably underrated in your opinion? And before I give you my answer, I must thank you for watching this week's episode of Ask M&R Productions. If new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and if you have a question for next week's episode, leave it down in the comments below and leave a like while you're there. What set do I think gets way too much hate? The First Order AT-AT. See ya!